All right, welcome to, I can't believe the May edition of the show we still don't have a name for. Megan, who will introduce in a second, but I've always wanted to do like Doug's Dinner, right? And it'd be like a show where we have like the appetizer, like, and then the main course and a dessert, and we'll have a local restaurant serve us while we go. But that got shot down. It got cut out. I couldn't pull it into the school committee budget. So, Doug, how's it? I feel like just yesterday was September.
Yeah.
Now it's May.
Yeah.
Before we get to the fun, I shouldn't say the fun topics, but the more in-depth topics, usually we like to start with A, introducing our guest.
Yeah.
And B, kind of what we've been working on since last time we met last month.
Yeah. We're going to try to get different people in. Today we have our middle school principal, Meg Webb, who's here with us. And it's great to have you.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having
Principal
me.
Webb, it's good to have you. How do you like being a principal at the middle school?
I love it.
Sure. And what year is this for you? Year 3?
4.
Oh, 4. All right,
Yeah.
it's off by 1.
Yeah.
So, no, it's awesome. What do you like best about being in Wakefield so far? You've done a whole 4. So you're 5th graders.
Yeah.
Your first.
I was just going to say
5th
that.
graders,
My 5th graders are graduating
Oh
in
my
a
God,
couple weeks.
that must be a milestone
It's
for
awesome.
you.
Yeah, it's really amazing because I've gotten to know them over the 4 years and their families and the first group I'm sending off. So very exciting.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. And Doug, what have we missed just in the past month?
A lot has happened. So since our last podcast, we've settled a number of contracts. We have gotten our budget passed at town meeting, which we are really pleased about. And so we're getting ready for summer work, capital planning, and summer work and projects that we have there. We're installing solar on the roof of the Galvin. We are hiring for our extended year program, which has, I think, doubled in size. And our amazing director there is Bev Elsowitz. And I think many people know Bev. She's a force. She can run a small country. She's amazing. And but that's a quick summary of what we're doing.
Oh, yeah. So not much. But speaking of contracts, going into it, I think, we try to do a few heavier topics, but the one we see people bring up quite a bit is the para contract, the paraprofessional contract. I love the para that's in my son's grade, and I think most people, even everybody here, would agree. They deserve good wages and whatnot. So what's going on there, and any updates you can give us? Obviously, we understand there's rules that you can't talk about everything, but is there an update?
Correct. We want to thank everyone that has reached out to us to advocate that the paras get a new contract. We agree. We want to create the best contract that we can for the paras that have been here and provided amazing service to kids. But we also want to kind of think about being an appealing district that people might want to come to, right? So this has many layers to it, but we're making, I think, nice progress. We have a few more meetings scheduled, and I think that there'll be some good news to report after those meetings. So I'm excited and optimistic about closing those negotiations out before the end of the school year. And I hopefully will be able to report that we've settled, and it's a pretty competitive contract to kind of give people the resources that they need who are here and allow them to stay here, but also to attract others for open positions that we might have.
Now, kind of just thinking, is the para, so obviously there's a shortage everywhere.
You're right.
I know we spoke once about is there still a shortage on paras, just I guess universally and maybe here too, or?
Yeah, there are a number of different para positions, right? Mm-hmm. So we have about 112 or 114 paraeducators. So paraeducators help. For example, we have kindergarten paras that.
I love Kim Smith, so just I'll put in one of my all-time favorite people.
Kim Smith and Sheila Junta are officers for the para unit. The unit is represented by the WEA. Jess Cummings is their president, but Kim Smith is a rock star, and Sheila is. I mean, they are just really just so exceptional at their work. But we have kindergarten paras. We have paras that work supporting students in classes. We have parents that support small programs. And so we have just a number of different positions that those 114 people fill. Yeah,
Oh,
at every level. Doyle, elementary, middle, high, and also post-academy.
No, that's wonderful. So hopefully we do get some good news. And then, do you want to just do a quick catch up on some things that we're going to have looking forward to before we get to the end of the year stuff, but for just the next month, and also what we have to look forward to right before the end of the year at the Galvin as well?
Yeah. So we have high school graduation is just an amazing milestone for us. We're entering prom season here. There'll be the Grand March, which is a milestone. Graduation is June
What color was your tux,
7th.
Doug?
What color was my tux?
Yeah, assuming you went to prom.
When I did go to prom. My tux was white.
Wait, did you really pull off the white tux?
I did.
Mate, did you believe that?
I believe it, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is a little embarrassing right now. I can't even believe we're talking about
Well,
this.
no, it's
I'd rather not talk about it.
the white tux. So, well, actually, it's funny because we have your prom date on the line. No.
That kind of show.
yeah. Well, this is why Kara didn't do it. Like, it was just. No, actually, no, that's the high school. What do we have to look forward to at the middle school coming up?
Well, so much. The spring there's like this tension between like the incredible academic work that goes on with MCAS and all the end of the year projects and all the end of the year assessments, teachers just trying to wrap everything up, but then there's also this pull to make everything very memorable and very special for students, which is really important at this age, probably at every age. So we have field trips. We've got 2 overnight field trips, one to New York City, one to Washington, D.C.
Wow.
Yes, I'm going to New York.
Now, do the kids do both, or do they pick, or?
7th grade does New York, if they choose. Not everybody
Yeah, obviously.
does. Yep, 8th grade goes to D.C. as part of their civics
Yep.
curriculum. And then that kind of just rolls into all the festivities for 8th graders moving on. We do a moving on ceremony. They have a final dance. They have Chaos on the Common, which is an all-day. When I first got here, I was
Wait,
like,
what is
mystified by
explain
this.
Chaos on the Common for
You
people?
almost have to see it to believe it, but it is. We take over the Commons, and there's maybe not bounce houses. I heard bounce houses are no more, but lots of games, lots of festivities, tons of food, and they're there most of the day.
That's awesome.
Just celebrating. Their parents come, the teachers come. It's a really great day.
It's a great day. It's we do just such a nice job at the middle school. It's almost it's overwhelming
It is.
how much, but I think it's one of the things that kids remember, and they'll always remember their time there, and it's a really nice way to cap it off.
Well, and many people, I've said this before, it's kind of like my theory on local government, at least here, I would say in the Northeast, and probably throughout the country, but like the school systems here are just such the lifeblood of civic life in general, whether it goes, and again, I guess you would say throughout the country, because you see it in, like, I had friends who lived in Texas, and they talked about the school sports and how important they were. And I think you see it here with the sports and the Chaos on the Common and the moving on ceremonies. Like, so much of the community is created through that school system, which is so important.
We also have 2 concerts every week for the next 3 weeks.
Wow.
Because we just have so many kids and so many grade levels and so many amazing music programs that they can't be housed in one concert. So it's just constant music, and it's pretty awesome.
No, I mean, and we always talk about, we usually, by contract, I don't know if you know, Tom Bankert makes us compliment him every show.
Yes, me
And
too.
so,
I didn't know
yeah,
that was
so
everybody's.
it's part of his deal. He reneged on
Very
some,
savvy.
yeah. No, but we do. So I actually think the last meeting we had, we were talking about sports teams and music and drama and who we expected to win and didn't. And then we're like, oh yeah, and we expect the music. Like, it was just, yeah, well, of course they'll win.
Yeah.
So
It's funny that you bring this up, because we just learned on Monday that for the 14th straight year, Wakefield was voted as one of the top communities in the state, and I think maybe 5 communities got this award. I'll double check that, but I think they recognized 5 communities for the most outstanding music education, right? As music activities and education as part of their school experience, and Wakefield is recognized again. They have a quote in there from Tom, And Tom's like the Bill Belichick of the
It
music
really
world.
is. It really is.
know.
Pre-Jordan Husson, just to be clear.
Thank you for saying that.
Yes,
My
good
gosh.
distinction.
He'll appreciate that.
See, this is what happens to O'Carroll. Like, it just does go off the rails. But on that note, though, it is, it's interesting because it's generational. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
And I say, I'm almost 40 now, but when I was in high school, the music program was massive.
Yeah.
And it really, it's such part of the culture here.
Yep.
And I think, again, you see it in the middle school. It starts
Yeah,
there.
it's incredible. I think Mike Morrell, who's our band director, he just casually came into my office the other day and said, "Oh yeah, we're going." They took the jazz band to only 2 schools from the whole state got invited to this competition,
Yeah.
and he got invited with his, I think it's 12 or 13 kids that he works with every morning at 7 a.m. And they're amazing, obviously, but he just kind of came in, said it, left. It's like, oh. It was a huge deal.
Yeah.
That's
It's a really
awesome.
big deal. But we have an amazing staff. They do just work that seems normal because we see it every day at the Galvin, but then if you go somewhere else, you realize
It's not a
yeah,
chance.
it's above
not.
and beyond.
It is way above and beyond. In fact, the jazz band here played for teachers during Teacher Appreciation Week. So, there was bagels and just an amazing spread for teachers, but the jazz band played. And I think the teachers appreciated most that the kids were there playing. And I think that if for those that hadn't yet seen the jazz band, we're just floored at how skilled the kids are. They're quite good. We just recognized the Hadestown cast at school committee this past week, and they are a remarkable group of kids. And to have them in studio, it's so funny to see them. And to hear them talk about they show up, and they're almost a little shy. And they're talking, and they just presented themselves like these larger-than-life characters on stage.
It's true.
And my question was, can you give us some insight, like how this works? And one of the cast members said, it would be easier for me to probably come here and sing than come here and talk.
That's too funny.
And I thought, this is brilliant stuff. But it's
It
great.
really is.
Yeah,
It really is. And,
Yeah.
I do want to pivot, though, as we talk about all these things and how important it's going to be. We have seen, on the federal level, I know people have been asking, they see nationally all the cuts to education and, the talk of getting rid of the Department of Ed. Is that, as we had town meeting passed the budget and we're looking in the future, any fear of what's going to happen in the school system because of that?
I think that there is, I don't know if fear is the word. I think that there is concern, the uncertainty that all of the cuts and the executive orders, all of those, as we're trying to make sense of them and trying to make sense of how it's going to affect Massachusetts, right, and all public schools, but then Wakefield, and how it's going to affect us, our staff, our programming. We still don't yet know all of that, and so we're taking we have a pretty high level of caution and concern as we're wading into a lot of the work that we're doing, and we are seeing the uncertainty that it's creating around the budget. The state budget is progressing, and there has been some increases in Chapter 70. We are going to be talking about school choice next week at school committee, and I think that is something that is something different than we're thinking about trying. And so there's be more information at school committee about that week after next. But so we're looking with a kind of a high degree of caution, and trying to create some type of scenarios or plans how we might respond if grants get cut or if programs get cut. We have a number of grants that come to the state from the federal DOE, and so we're just trying to understand if those are going to continue. It looks like we did have a very quick call with Mass DESE, the Mass Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, yesterday, and we're hearing that funding established for FY26 is in place, but let's wait and see, because we're hearing that some grants still may be cut, so we'll see.
No, understood. Understood. Well,
I wish I had a better answer.
I mean, one of the things we talk about at the school level, because I get a lot of questions, which means you get way more, like a million questions, just about all the things come out every day that are a little bit disorienting and a little bit confusing. But one of the things that's nice about working in a school is that there's so much we control, like the culture of the building, how we take care of kids, how we approach our work, that doesn't change. And I think that's been something that's been steady at the middle school. And I know we hear that messaging from the district too, that like we know who we are. And all of this stuff is swirling around us. And as long as you have that, we can kind of figure out all of those other pieces. And so, we don't know day to day, but we kind of know what we believe and kind of what we're driving towards.
We've and we've said this before. Principal Webb, I know you're an avid listener, so I know you know this. Yes, but no, one of the things we say is how important, and I kind of loops back to like the paras and the educators and whatnot. The educators are. I mean, over the buildings, over the tech, over the fancy stuff. Nothing is more important than an educator, right? And you even ask the students, they'll go to the place that is less tech savvy and less nice, for lack of better terms, if they have that adult that they trust and they want to be with, because that is the most important thing we do. Let's want to get to the fun stuff on what we have to look forward to before the next podcast.
Sure. So we are flying forward with high school construction, right? So I try to give a little kind of update on that. So the quick on this is that are on budget and a little ahead of schedule, so we're making progress there. If it can stop raining for a couple of consecutive days, we would be making better headway in terms of our spring game schedule and our track meets, because I feel like we've been rained out of everything and everything's been moved. I think next week we have softball games every single week.
Wow.
And so we're also, we learned on Thursday that the new softball field is going to be turned over to us because it wasn't quite ready, because they were still waiting for the grass to germinate and all this business. But so I think the softball field will be open next week. So those things seem like small things, but for our girls team, it's like they're so excited to not have to travel to vets and a lot of little things, but. We're kind of, a lot of irons in the fire. We're trying to hire for a few positions. Principals are. We're not so much at central office or administrative positions. So that's where we are.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. What are you looking forward to at the Galvin?
Well, it's just a fast-paced time right now, so you just kind of hang on, get away. We're looking forward to the end of MCAS testing. It ends in June technically, but our last building-wide tests are next week, and the kids have done such a good job. They're so focused. They're using all their graphic organizers. It's been super impressive, and it's time for that to be done so that they can kind of get back into a more typical schedule. And just the spring is a fast time, but it's such a joyful time for a lot of kids that it's fun to be around them.
No, and it must be. I mean, speaking of new buildings, it must be nice to be in a building that has climate control in every room.
Yes, we're so lucky.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it's awesome. So usually we're a little bit early. Usually we try to shoot for about 25 minutes. But anything to add, or are we?
No, I think one of the things that we're going to be adding, I think, in our upcoming podcast, we're going to invite some students to join us. Oh. And no one reports on our work better than students.
True.
Right?
They tell the truth.
They tell the truth, whether you like it or not. They give it to you straight, it's what we love about them, right? So it's yeah.
No, absolutely. And Doug, what do we have to do to get some prom pictures of you here at the next podcast?
I guarantee you that will never happen, and we probably will never discuss this again.
That sounds good. All right, well, Principal Webb, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
No, Doug, thank you. And
Of
again,
course.
thank you to WCAT and Ian McDermott for always organizing this and keeping us on track.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you guys, and
We'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Thank you.